And you have parents looking at Disney being like, what are you doing, guys?
And there is no resolution in sight for the Walt Disney Company when it comes to Snow White 2025 at the box office. This is exactly why Bob Iger, the Disney CEO, is in pure panic mode over not just the Rachel Zegler backlash, but the entire backlash surrounding this movie in general.
That the producers, far left-wing activists in Hollywood, are turning on her, and Disney has canceled all of Rachel Zegler's appearances on their media platforms. Kind of tough.
Did you catch the latest bombshell? Disney has just officially confirmed a brand new Snow White remake.
It was a wholesome family film, and now they've turned it into woke trash.
And the announcement has left Rachel Zegler visibly shaken. After months of controversy, industry fallout, and relentless fan backlash, the studio is pivoting hard. The new project comes on the heels of the disastrous adaptation led by Zegler, a version that many now call one of Disney's most significant misfires in years.
And just how once trusted critics that shilled for the Disney Company all the time, even they are beginning to turn their back against them. That's how bad this movie truly is. Even if you look at the IMDb rating score, that's when you really know how terrible this movie is and how it really hit rock bottom.
Today we're diving deep into what led up to this moment, how the previous film unraveled, and what this new course correction means for the future of a classic tale. For those who missed it, the old Snow White remake was pitched as a bold, modern feminist revision of the beloved 1937 classic. The film's narrative dared to depart from tradition, focusing heavily on a reimagined love story and even questioning whether the prince was really needed.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
Rachel Zegler's offhand dismissal of iconic elements, calling the prince irrelevant and the romance awkward, sparked a firestorm online.
After one hell of a PR tour, Disney's live-action Snow White is finally, I know, you were wondering.
Fans and critics alike couldn't believe that a story treasured for generations was being so radically overhauled. The backlash was swift and brutal, with hashtags trending and nostalgic viewers crying foul at what they saw as an attack on the very essence of classic storytelling.
That despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them,
She's a good actress.
that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Wow. The ego on this girl is ridiculous. Wow.
Then came the box office disaster. Test screenings were tepid at best, and when the trailer dropped, it confirmed what many feared. The film was a monumental failure. The negative response wasn't just about creative choices, it was a full-scale rejection from an audience that felt betrayed. Disney's internal reports later revealed that the poor IMDb ratings, the unsold merchandise, and even slashed prices on toys and apparel were symptomatic of a brand in crisis.
This is supposed to be a place where magic happens, and all you're doing is indoctrinating kids, and you're having this person be the poster child of the Democratic Party.
It wasn't just one bad film. It was an entire debacle that cost the studio millions and shook the confidence of its multi-generational fan base. Amidst the chaos, Disney's leadership had to act fast. In a private media event, top executives framed the new remake as a course correction aimed at restoring audience confidence. They admitted that even trusted critics, who had long defended the studio's approach, were beginning to turn their backs. The new announcement is not just about making another film, it's about repairing the strained relationship with fans who grew up loving the original and expect nothing less than a faithful tribute to its legacy. Disney promises a return to the emotional heartbeat, the classic musical sequences, and the fairy tale atmosphere that the previous version completely missed.
Look no further than what Disney is doing with their woke, DEI, feminist agenda.
The new project is stirring up a storm of rumors and insider chatter. Sources close to the production say that this time, Disney is planning to reintroduce key elements from the 1937 film. They're bringing back legacy animators and even consultants who helped define the visual language of the Renaissance-era films. The narrative will reportedly follow the original plot more closely, allowing for subtle modern updates rather than a complete overhaul.
The producers, far left-wing activists in Hollywood, are turning on her, and Disney has canceled all of Rachel Zegler's appearances on their media platforms. Kind of tough.
This approach is intended to blend timeless themes with a modern grace, one that respects the past while still appealing to today's audiences. But what about Rachel Zegler? The fallout from her previous adaptation has been brutal. Once celebrated for her breakout role in West Side Story, she now finds herself at the center of a storm that has tarnished not only her reputation, but also the careers of many who worked alongside her.
She destroyed hundreds of millions of dollars worth of IP for Disney, but she also has destroyed her career and the careers of anybody who worked on the movie.
Critics argue that her off-screen comments and controversial interviews turned what could have been an innovative reimagining into a PR nightmare. The backlash was so severe that Disney ultimately canceled all of her scheduled appearances, choosing instead to distance the project from her persona. Even as she maintains a quiet profile these days, the echoes of that fateful film continue to haunt the conversation.
We'll still offend the dwarves, but we'll CGI dwarves. So we'll guarantee no employment for little people while getting rid of this other component that warranted CGI. It was the worst decision they could possibly make.
Inside Disney, the lesson has been learned the hard way. Leaked documents revealed deep rifts among the marketing, creative, and public relations teams during the rollout of the Zegler-led film. Inconsistent messaging and a promotional campaign that often contradicted itself only compounded the negative response. Now, every aspect of the new remake is under tighter scrutiny. From casting and costume design to lighting and musical scoring, the studio is reevaluating every detail to ensure that the new version does not repeat the mistakes of its predecessor.
Every way that Disney changed the story, it changed it for the worse.
There's talk of even implementing stricter media training protocols to keep all public messaging perfectly in line with the film's themes. This shift in direction is not just a strategic move, it's a high-stakes bet on the future of one of Disney's most cherished properties. With the Snow White brand at risk of being permanently tarnished, executives believe that a carefully executed reboot could redeem the title and reconnect with audiences who once revered it.
Disney responded by scaling back the premiere. I don't know that anyone really showed up to the premiere. The Rotten Tomatoes reviews are looking pretty bad, and they did, it seems like they tried to tweak a few things, but this movie is bad.
Insiders hint that the new adaptation will feature a more traditional narrative arc, with a renewed focus on the magical elements that made the original so unforgettable. Fans are cautiously optimistic. Online forums are buzzing with hope that this reset will finally bring back the magic.
It's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about
she's gonna die.
true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
I just want the magic back, one user wrote, calling for a return to the timeless songs, the romance, and the enchanting forest scenes that define the classic. Disney's commitment to this new direction is evident not only in the creative team they're assembling, but also in the scale of the project. Production is slated to begin in late 2025, with a theatrical release projected for spring 2027. Marketing materials are already in the works, promising teaser art, soundtrack previews, and behind-the-scenes documentaries designed to build anticipation.
Hello, Disney. You're going to have to redo your film again because this woman is a pig and you fired Gina Carano for far less than this nonsense.
There are even plans to reintroduce Snow White theming across select Disney parks, an effort to reestablish the connection between the film and the studio's broader cultural legacy. Beyond the film itself, this entire saga is a powerful commentary on the state of modern remakes. It's a vivid reminder that while innovation is important, it must never come at the cost of erasing the legacy that has defined generations. The disastrous outcome of the previous adaptation is a case study in what happens when creative ambition outpaces respect for cultural heritage. The controversy forced Disney, and Hollywood at large, to re-examine its approach to reimagining beloved classics. Patrick B. David and other outspoken critics have made it clear there is a fine line between updating a story and completely dismantling the elements that made it timeless. As the dust settles on the previous debacle, the industry is watching closely. Can Disney's new strategy bridge the gap between modern sensibilities and the cherished traditions of classic storytelling? The stakes are monumental, not just in terms of box office returns, but in preserving the emotional and cultural touchstones that have captivated audiences for decades. The lessons learned from this crisis are already influencing how studios plan future projects. With a renewed focus on balancing innovation with tradition, the new Snow White remake is more than just another film. It's a chance to restore faith in a legacy that spans generations. Disney's renewed focus on cohesive storytelling, careful oversight, and an unwavering commitment to the original's spirit is a bold response to the past's missteps. For fans who have longed for a return to the magic of the classic, this could be the moment when the fairy tale finally regains its shine. Yet, the pressure is immense. The public's expectations are high, and any misstep could reignite the kind of backlash that led to the previous film's downfall. In conclusion, the announcement of the new Snow White remake marks a pivotal moment for Disney. It's a clear admission that the previous approach, led by Rachel Zegler's controversial reinterpretation, missed the mark by a mile. Now, with a renewed focus on the emotional heartbeat and visual language of the 1937 classic, Disney is setting the stage for a comeback that could redefine what it means to honor a timeless tale in the modern era. As the industry and fans alike brace for what comes next, the big question remains: can this new direction restore the magic and trust that once made Snow White a legend?
That despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them,
She's a good actress.
that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Wow. The ego on this girl is ridiculous. Wow.
Every way that Disney changed the story, it changed it for the worse.
Hello, Disney. You're going to have to redo your film again because this woman is a pig and you fired Gina Carano for far less than this nonsense.
Did you see the scene? Rachel Zegler, once hailed as Hollywood's next breakout star, was left in utter disbelief as she sat in a nearly empty theater watching her own Snow White remake tank in real time. It wasn't just a box office failure, it was a full-blown catastrophe.
And there is no resolution in sight for the Walt Disney Company when it comes to Snow White 2025 at the box office. This is exactly why Bob Iger, the Disney CEO, is in pure panic mode over not just the Rachel Zegler backlash, but the entire backlash surrounding this movie in general.
In a moment that looked more like a private heartbreak than a red carpet triumph, Zegler clutched a bouquet of sympathy flowers from loyal friends. A silent testament to the harsh reality that even Discount Tuesday couldn't save this film from disaster. Today, we're diving into every explosive detail behind the flop, from shocking preview numbers and ruthless social media roasting to internal studio chaos and the personal toll on one of Hollywood's rising stars.
After one hell of a PR tour, Disney's live-action Snow White is finally, I know, you were wondering.
It all began on what should have been a triumphant premiere night. Instead, as Rachel Zegler stepped into the theater, the sight that greeted her was nothing short of heartbreaking. Rows of empty seats, a near-deserted auditorium, and an atmosphere so forlorn it could silence even the most die-hard optimists.
I am walking into Snow White, 2 p.m., now seating. Let's see how empty it is. Woke we go. I hope. 1, 2. Okay. 2.
With just $3.5 million in Thursday previews and a dismal $43 million opening weekend, the numbers spoke a brutal truth. This film wasn't just underperforming, it was vanishing into oblivion. In a scenario that seemed almost surreal, the film's $250 million plus production budget and lavish marketing campaign were reduced to nothing more than a cautionary tale of how even the biggest names can fall from grace when expectations crumble.
The producers, far left-wing activists in Hollywood, are turning on her, and Disney has canceled all of Rachel Zegler's appearances on their media platforms. Kind of tough.
As news of the box office disaster spread, the online world exploded. Social media feeds were inundated with viral seating charts showing empty theaters and images of lone viewers. Each snapshot a testament to the film's failure. Memes, jokes, and biting commentary flooded every platform, with some viewers even launching a GoFundMe campaign to help Disney break even. In stark contrast to earlier promises of a modern, refreshing take on a beloved classic, The woke Snow White remake quickly became the subject of ridicule and scorn. Fans who had once eagerly awaited the reimagining were now united in their disappointment, feeling betrayed by a film that seemed to have lost all sense of the magic it was supposed to capture.
This is supposed to be a place where magic happens, and all you're doing is indoctrinating kids, and you're having this person be the poster child of the Democratic Party.
The drama wasn't confined to box office numbers alone. Behind the scenes, the controversy escalated into a full-blown PR nightmare. During a high-profile event, Zegler's off-the-cuff remarks and out-of-touch comments only fueled the fire. In what was meant to be a moment of celebration, her stage appearance turned into an emotional breakdown as she tried to address the critics and express gratitude, only to cap off her speech with an unexpected political jab that sent shockwaves throughout the Disney boardroom. It wasn't long before the backlash reached critical mass, with prominent industry insiders and even family members of key figures stepping in. Jonah Platt, the son of Snow White's producer, took to Instagram with a now-deleted comment that practically detonated the situation. He blasted Zegler for her reckless behavior, accusing her of prioritizing personal opinions over professional responsibility. A move that, according to sources, helped push an already sinking ship even further underwater. Inside Disney, panic set in as executives scrambled to control the narrative. Leaked reports revealed that internal meetings became a battleground for damage control, with discussions ranging from last-minute reshoots and frantic edits to drastic changes in marketing strategies. The studio's top brass, who had once trusted in the bold, modern reinterpretation, were now forced to face the harsh reality of a project that had not only flopped at the box office, but had also jeopardized years of legacy and trust.
That the producers, far left-wing activists in Hollywood, are turning on her, and Disney has canceled all of Rachel Zegler's appearances on their media platforms. Kind of tough.
Casting decisions, budget overruns, and conflicting messages between departments all compounded the crisis. It became evident that the failure was not just a result of creative missteps, but of a systemic breakdown in how the film was managed from start to finish. For Rachel Zegler, the fallout has been nothing short of devastating.
I know this point has been made, but this truly is the worst casting, maybe in the history of the film industry.
Once celebrated for her role in West Side Story and seen as the future of Hollywood, she now finds herself at the center of an unforgiving storm. Critics and fans alike have not held back, with many accusing her of being out of touch and overly confident, traits that, in the eyes of the public, contributed to the film's collapse. Her outspoken nature, which once endeared her to a generation of followers, has now become a double-edged sword. While some believe that controversy can sometimes drive attention and even box office returns, in this case, it appears to have accelerated a rapid descent into obscurity. With appearances canceled and her reputation in tatters, questions abound as to whether Zegler can ever recover from the catastrophic failure of Snow White.
Disney responded by scaling back the premiere. I don't know that anyone really showed up to the premiere. The Rotten Tomatoes reviews are looking pretty bad, and they did, it seems like they tried to tweak a few things, but this movie is bad.
As if the disastrous premiere and subsequent PR debacle weren't enough, the ripple effects of this meltdown extend even further. Disney's decision to cast Rachel, a Latina actress in a role traditionally associated with a fair-skinned princess, sparked its own share of heated debates. Critics argued that the casting was an attempt to push a modern agenda, and comparisons were quickly drawn to previous controversies in the industry.
Where Steven Spielberg and co. were demanding that she prove how Latina she really is, since her name doesn't sound Latina, and she was angrily saying, did I have to bring in my little abuelita for you to believe that I was Latina?
Some remembered the backlash faced by other reimagined fairy tale adaptations, and now, Zegler's portrayal was being scrutinized for every perceived misstep. In a now-deleted social media post, she once defiantly declared that she would not bleach her skin for the role, a comment that only deepened the divide between her supporters and detractors. The controversy over her casting and her subsequent behavior has left a lasting stain on her career, with many insiders suggesting that this incident might permanently alter her trajectory in Hollywood. Inside the studio, the financial and reputational toll is becoming impossible to ignore. Merchandise linked to the film has plummeted in sales, with major retailers slashing prices on toys and apparel mere weeks after their release. Analysts have pointed to this as a clear sign that the film's impact goes beyond just the box office.
There was an in-depth piece, like a behind-the-scenes piece, talking about how they've been in a full meltdown about this girl for a couple of years now, and how they had her tweet out like a little, "Yay, Snow White, can't wait, so excited, I love to play her." And she did it and got like millions of views, and they were like, "Good job, Rachel." And then she, like minutes later, followed it up with, "And never forget, free Palestine."
It threatens to tarnish a brand that once symbolized magic and wonder for millions of fans worldwide. For Disney, this failure is a wake-up call, a dramatic reminder that innovation must be balanced with respect for timeless storytelling. The once promising modern take on Snow White, which aimed to revolutionize the narrative with a woke twist, instead became a textbook example of how not to handle a live-action remake. Yet, amid all this chaos, some industry voices believe that every failure offers a lesson. The catastrophic performance of Snow White has forced Disney to rethink its approach entirely. The studio has now announced plans for a new adaptation that promises to return to the classic elements which made the original so beloved.
It was a wholesome family film, and now they've turned it into woke trash.
Insiders reveal that this revamped version will adhere closely to the 1937 plot, incorporating beloved musical sequences, restored character dynamics, and a visual style that harkens back to the golden era of animation. By bringing back legacy animators and consultants, veterans of the Renaissance-era films, Disney hopes to recapture the magic that was lost in the previous iteration. This new direction is being touted as a course correction, a chance to rebuild trust with a multi-generational fan base that has felt deeply betrayed. Beyond the immediate fallout, the broader implications of this debacle are now coming into sharp focus. The collapse of the Snow White remake isn't just about one film or one actress. It's a cautionary tale for the entire industry. It raises critical questions about creative risk, audience expectations, and the fine line between innovation and tradition. How much modern reinterpretation is too much when dealing with cultural icons? Can studios successfully bridge the gap between progressive storytelling and reverence for time-tested classics? And perhaps most importantly, is there a path to redemption for an actress who finds herself synonymous with one of Hollywood's most notorious failures? As the dust settles, viewers are left with a powerful reminder of the high stakes in today's entertainment landscape. Rachel Zegler's public breakdown, coupled with the massive financial loss and the social media uproar, has created a narrative that will be dissected for years to come. This isn't just a story about a film bomb, it's a story about ambition, miscommunication, and the relentless pressure to innovate without alienating a loyal audience. For every meme shared and every biting comment posted, there lies a deeper debate about the future of storytelling in an era where every word, every decision, and every performance is subject to instant global scrutiny.